you done now?
Broadcasting live from Houston, Texas, and around the world. TV host, best-selling author, and radio personality Brad Gilmore brings you a collection of conversations with stars from movies.
Mark Wahlberg.
Hey, how are you?
The legendary Mr. Christopher Lloyd. Christopher, how are we doing?
I'm doing good. Great introduction.
Television.
Jimmy Fallon joins us this morning. Jimmy, how you doing, my friend?
Good morning. Thank you so much, Brad, for having me. I appreciate this, bud.
Kelly Ripa.
Brad, thank you for having me.
Comedy.
Jay Leonard joins us. Jay, how you doing?
Hey, Brad, what's going on?
Gabriel Fluffy Iglesias.
Good morning.
Music.
Lola Monroe.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
The legendary frontman of AC/DC, Brian Johnson, joins us right now. Brian, how you doing?
Good morning, Brad. What looking at you, give me funny, lad.
Grammy Award winner Maya joins us.
How are you?
And more. This is The Collection. Now your host, The Boat, Brad Gilmore.
And she's joining us right now, the Emmy Award winner. You've seen her in television shows, movies, even producing films like Unexpected from behind the camera. She joins us this morning to talk about the new movie, Mending the Line, which stars herself along with a very talented cast in theaters this Friday, June 9th. Patricia Heaton joins us right now. Patricia, how are we doing this morning? Congratulations on the new movie.
Brad. Thank you, Brad. Yeah, I'm very excited about it.
So for people who might not have seen the trailer or understand what the story actually is, talk about Mending the Line.
Mending the Line is a really beautiful story about the trauma that veterans can go through and how relationship and nature, and in this case, in particular, fly fishing, can go a long way for healing. And it has an incredible cast starring Brian Cox, recently of Succession, which was one of my obsessions and one of the reasons I wanted to do the movie. But also Cinqua Walls, Wes Studi, Perry Matfield, great cast. Shot in Bozeman, Montana. I mean, that was another wonderful thing about doing this movie, is being in that beautiful setting. So I think there's the audience has a lot to see and look at when they go to this movie, which I hope they will.
Yeah, the story is an important one. Obviously, I come from a military family. Grandfather in World War II, brother-in-law in Iraq, my uncle's in Vietnam. And a couple of years ago, we went to the National Cemetery where my grandfather was buried. And
oh, my goodness.
Yeah, and we got to see, I saw so many people who've laid their lives on the line for this country. And you see, it starts to really hit you when you see people who were born the same year you were, and you see their tombstones or their memorials, and it lets you know
That's
the
right.
incredible sacrifice that people have for this country. But you are right. I feel like with the veterans, because you play a VA doctor or a doctor at the VA hospital who kind of helps Cinqua through his service, kind of his PTSD, I guess, for lack of a better term. I don't think that we put enough emphasis on veterans in this country. Is that something that you found out while, researching this role and getting prepared, that there aren't a lot of great options sometimes for veterans?
Well, I do. I support the Gary Sinise Foundation for many, many years. And if you're military, you know how much that Gary has done for our veterans. And so I'm aware that there are a lot of people who do appreciate what veterans have done and have given a lot of time and money to make sure that they're taken care of. And we can always do more, that's for sure. And I think, mental health and things like trauma are coming to the forefront of the national consciousness. And I think this movie is, a great story to tell, a hopeful story about those issues that we are now really facing today. And I think this is what I love about Hollywood, is that we are able to tell stories that have an impact like Mending the Line does.
Mending the Line in theaters this Friday, June 9th. We're talking to Patricia Heaton. Now, Patricia, with the cast that you mentioned, Brian Cox, of course, incredible. I've had the privilege of talking to Cinqua. He did a movie a couple months ago called The Nanny, which I just found his performance riveting. I know y'all have scenes together. How was he to work with? And I just feel like he's going to be a mega talent. a mega star.
I think what is so wonderful, we just talked and talked. We had never met before, and we just had a great time. He's a really sweet person, which is when you're on set and working as hard as everyone is, it's really important that you really like the people you work with. So he was just wonderful. His performance is fantastic. It was just a great group of people.
Now, Brian Cox coming off of Succession, which I think has opened him to a whole new audience of people. If you didn't know who Brian Cox was ahead of time, now, of course, he's on everyone's mind and the top of everybody's conversations. Talk to me about his role in the movie, and more so than his role, what he brings to the project.
Well, Brian plays a bit of a grizzled old veteran who is struggling at the end of his life, but finds a lot of solace in fly fishing, although he's finding it harder and harder because of his age and his infirmities. And I'm the doctor that's trying to encourage him to take it easy, to be careful, to go make sure he goes out with someone in case he falls, that he's not alone. And I was so nervous. I was so, I took the part because I was like, I get to work with Brian Cox. But I got there, I was so nervous. And he couldn't be nicer. He is so down to earth. He's so lovely. And there was one point, it's the first scene I had with him and the first line I had on camera. And I did the scene, and internally I just felt like, that was terrible. And I kind of whispered to him, we were just sitting across from each other, and I whispered, I hate acting so much. And he said, acting is the hardest thing to do, and only actors understand this. And it was such a sweet, supportive thing to say that immediately relaxed me. And he's just, he has no pretension whatsoever. He talked a lot about Succession because, of course, everybody on set wanted to know. And he just held everyone's attention. We all stood around him just hanging on every word as he told us about shooting in Italy and all the behind the scenes stories. And it was just a pleasure. I was only on set for about a week. But it was really fun. And then, of course, being in Bozeman, Montana, it's just an incredible setting. So it was really a great experience.
Now, something that I love about what you've done with your career over time is you've continued to add another slash, right? I mean, you were actress slash author slash producer, and you've done movies, television, and everything in between. You actually wrote a book called Your Second Act, which was about reinvention. And I'm very big on that because I feel like if you don't change with the times would pass you by, and you have to continue to evolve. That's what we're here on the planet to do. Why was it important for you to do a book like that?
Well, I'm moving into a different phase of life, and there's a lot of navigating that needs to be done when your kids are all out of the house and you've gotten a lot of your, meaning in life by raising your kids, and then they're kind of launched. And when you've done, long running sitcoms and, those have finished, you have to kind of look for those other things that are anchoring you to this world, that are giving you purpose and meaning. And so sometimes that's hard, and it's a transition time, and transitions can be tricky. So I just was wanting to encourage people to who find themselves in that position at any age, actually, because it can happen at any age, to really, take it as an opportunity to get out there and try something new, not to be afraid, take risks, be okay with failing or making mistakes, because it's your life. It's your one precious life, and it's yours to explore without caring about judgment or anything that anybody else is thinking. So it's one of the reasons, my husband, David Hunt, and I produced, and Dave directed this movie Unexpected, because we'd had this for a long time. We'd been developing it, and having set it up at different places and having it fall through, we finally said, we're going to do this on our own. the pandemic helps with that in a way. I think one of the upsides to the pandemic is people kind of had to really think about what's important in their life, because suddenly everything was up in the air, right? And so we just thought, let's just do this movie. Let's not wait for permission. Let's get out there and do it. It's on Amazon Prime now. It's a beautiful movie, funny and moving. So in doing that, that's, as you said, it's adding that next thing next to my name. And it's done out of real joy and the joy of creating, which is, what the business that we're in is, creating stories. And our particular mission is to create stories that are very uplifting and real, not sugarcoating anything, but at the end there's hope. And I think Mending the Line is one of those wonderful movies that has that same thing. It's a gritty story, but at the end of the day, you're left with hope and faith in humanity.
It's an incredible story, Mending the Line. So is Unexpected. I really encourage everyone to go out and watch it. I watched it when it came out earlier this year. Really enjoyed Unexpected. So watch that. Watch Mending the Line. Support Patricia Heaton. And I just appreciate you taking the time to join us. Again, the movie Mending the Line is in theaters this Friday. Patricia Heaton, Brian Cox, Sinqua Walls. Can't get better than that cast. Patricia, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Brad. Appreciate it.